Real estate terms on reality TV versus Chicago real estate. We're going to do a multi-part series, busting myths and defining the terms. So when you're watching one of the reality TV shows and you hear that they go, "We're in escrow." Well, here in Chicago real estate, we don't have a "we're in escrow" period. Once the seller accepts your offer on a home, we go into a contingency period where you conduct your home inspections and the attorney comes in and reviews the entire process, the contract, and helps you along the way. What we do deposit as far as monetary amounts, it's called earnest money here in Chicago. So once your seller accepts your offer, you deposit earnest money, and there's two of those. The first earnest money deposits right when you get all parties to execute the contract, and then there is a second deposit of earnest money once you've cleared all your contingencies from the inspection and the attorney review period. Chicago real estate versus reality TV, part 2. So you hear it on all the time on the reality TV shows that they say, "I've got an offer for you." It is full ask, all cash. So what does that mean? Sure, in Chicago, we have our fair share of all cash offers. Now what that means is there is no financing, meaning the buyer is not borrowing any money from the bank in order to buy the house. They are literally pulling all the cash out of their bank account, their savings account, etc., to pay for the house. When someone also says full ask, that means they are making a full price offer, exactly what the seller is asking for the list price. Part 3, Chicago real estate versus reality TV. So another term you hear often, "I've got an offer for you, 8-day close of escrow, no contingencies." Well, what does that mean in the reality of Chicago real estate? So we have an attorney review period, so to close on a home, it is very unlikely to close in a week and 1 day, 8 days, especially when there are Saturdays and Sundays where the banks are closed. We have an attorney review process, which typically takes at minimum 7 days. Even if you have an all cash offer without any financing, we still have to close at a title company, and there are schedules we have to coordinate. So typically in Chicago, we're closing on that home at minimum 3 weeks if it's all cash. Sometimes you can make a 2-week closing happen if all of the parties' schedules work out and there's availability at the title company. But typically you're closing on that home in 30 to 45 days. Part 4, Chicago real estate versus reality TV. So what does it mean when the reality TV stars tell you that you're going to close no contingencies, all cash, full ask, 8-day closing, no contingencies? Well, no contingencies means just that. You are waiving everything in order to close that property, which is really waiving all of your protection. So here in Chicago, I've mentioned before, we have an attorney review contingency period where everything is reviewed with the attorneys looking over the contract, the inspections, everything else. If you say no contingencies, you're waiving your inspection. You still have the right to have one, but that means you are not allowed to ask the seller for any kind of repairs, credits, concessions. Also means you are waiving your mortgage contingency, meaning you're not protected in the event you cannot get financing, which means your earnest money is completely at risk to be lost in full. And oftentimes earnest money can be up to 5% of the purchase price. So it is no small amount of money. So at the end of the day, here in Chicago real estate, let's make sure you're protected.